If you're a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility and your machinery isn't working right, Grainger knows you need to understand what's wrong as soon as possible. So when a conveyor motor falters, Grainger offers diagnostic tools like calibration kits and multimeters to help you identify and fix the problem. With Grainger, you can be confident you have everything you need to keep your facility running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I like things my way, my coffee, my schedule, and my treatment. So I talked to my doctor about self-injecting with the Vyvgart Hytrulo prefilled syringe, which contains efgartigimod alpha and hyaluronidase QVFC. It's injected under your skin, subcutaneously. It means I can inject in my space, on my time. It's my treatment, my way. Visit VyvgartMyWay.com. That's VYVGART MyWay.com. And talk to your doctor about Vyvgart Hytrulo. Brought to you by Argenix.
Always follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live in downtown Vegas. Circa Resort and Casino is the spot. Here on a very busy Tuesday afternoon in late November. Among the guests today, RJ Choppy from The Fan in Dallas, talking about the big Turkey Day clash, Cowboys, Chiefs, Paul Stone, college football in 90. Glenn Clark covers the Ravens. What would he put on a percentage for Lamar Jackson's health as we speak, going into this game against the Bengals? And Derek Stevens, owner, CEO. It's been an unbelievable 10-day stretch here in Las Vegas. It continues with all these college basketball games going on across multiple venues. We have Maction coming up in a half an hour. I have a bet on that. We're going to get into
Yeah, how about it?
Yeah?
Anytime you can go to Amherst, Massachusetts on a Tuesday at 1:30
at 1:30 Pacific time.
That's right.
You got to be down, right?
Fire it up.
And we'll have early numbers for Week 14 as well. How about this? Props, of course, now on a Tuesday, they are out for the Thanksgiving Day games. The first player I had to look at, obviously, was Joe Burrow, and he is in the 250s with his passing prop, as low as 251.5. I did see a couple of spots a little bit higher than that. That's a pretty big number, Paul. But you look at his career against Baltimore, he's played 9 games. On average, 299.9 yards per game, 21 touchdowns, 5 INTs. He has had outstanding numbers against this Baltimore team. But 251.5, first game back off injury in 2 months.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
They got good news today with Kyle Hamilton. He's at practice and appears to be good to go. So the defense has been great. And you're down Higgins. So you're right about the rust and that bad offensive line, and a great nightcap as well. An awesome job by the books to have all this stuff up and the creativity with all the props and the 3 games and most rushing, receiving, all that. The kicking props are unreal. Most yards by a tight end. Anything you can imagine, anything you want is available on the 3 games Thursday. Excellent job.
Do you know how long, by the way, we've had the triple header on Thanksgiving now?
5 years?
2006.
Get out of here. Is it?
I could not believe it when I saw that today.
Is that right? Damn, that is surprising.
Like, how is that even possible?
Yeah.
Because it was always just Dallas and Detroit. That's it. And I'll give you some numbers here. Great numbers from Evan Abrams. Favorites have dominated on Thanksgiving since 2004. 51-9 straight up. 40-20 ATS. In the wild card era since 1990, favorites of 7 points or more are 30-5 straight up and 25-10 ATS. Ravens are right there this week in this division clash. Also, the Chiefs are the only road favorite on the slate on Thursday. Road favorites are 25-1 straight up and 20-6 ATS since 2004. The only loss, 2009, when the Giants lost to the Broncos, 26-6. So you have that going.
That is strong.
And now how about this? The Lions and the Cowboys have not combined to go 2-0 ATS on Thanksgiving since 2001. And they haven't both gone 2-0 straight up and ATS on Thanksgiving since 1994. Are you serious?
Yeah.
I guess we forget how long Detroit was absolutely horrific there. What was it, our entire lifetime pretty much?
Yeah, so bad we wanted them off Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't compete. The dumpster fire.
Now, any thought to that road angle there with the Chiefs been strong, but I will also point this out. We have two teams playing on Thursday off overtime games, and the Lions were at home. The Chiefs were at home against the Colts, and now they go and play on the road. Teams on short rest off overtime. When their opponent is not off overtime, 26-48 straight up, 24-47-3 ATS last 20 years, failing to cover the spread by 3.9 points per game. And when the team is on the road, such as the Chiefs, they are 9-28 straight up, 11-25-1 against the spread. Hello.
Mm-hmm. I also think you can fade the Colts, too, because they were on the field for so damn long after what happened Sunday in Kansas City. But Houston well-rested, coming off the Thursday nighter as well. Another good angle. But these are tough games as well. And the Survivor, now it gets nuts in Survivor. Congrats for advancing. Almost 300 people had them here, and then a couple people still alive in the Westgate that were on them. I mean, now it gets wild with these 4 games. If there's an upset and how many people will step. I still think there's going to be quite a few people who all along the plan was to use Kansas City because Dallas was so bad defensively, and they figured the Chiefs were a good look there, and now maybe they pivot or they still stick Kansas City on there because they've already used Baltimore, and maybe they already blew Philadelphia.
Yeah. How many teams do you think, well, 82% I think are on the Eagles so far, or remaining?
Have left, yes.
Yeah. So how many teams in the circa pool, 900 people left, how many teams do you think will be used on the combination there for Thursday and Friday?
Someone will use an underdog and step out. It happens every single week.
Right. Will all 8 teams be used?
No, I can't see that.
I'm wondering if there's a big group yet that will have a bunch on Philadelphia and they'll take like 1 on Chicago just in case. I'd put the number at 4.5 teams.
Would you use the option with 900 people left?
No, it's too early.
I can't do that.
No.
I'm with you. Yeah.
No.
So there was some bizarre picks. It always happens. The guy on Atlanta last week, good job he got through. As much as we mocked the guy for taking Dallas, I was listening to Russ and Mike on their podcast, Survivor Sweat. They argue it might have been one of the worst picks in the history of Survivor when the guy used Kansas City on Sunday. I mean, they're a 3-point favorite. You use them there. That's it. And they play 2 holiday games? Yeah. That didn't make any sense.
No, I would agree.
But somehow that got through, too. So I like your number. I'd have to go over and go. Even last week, we had 14 different teams used. So someone will step out of maybe a Green Bay, maybe a Dallas again. But it's going to get wild. And then 71%, I believe, have the Chargers available on Sunday.
Yeah, of the 4. Yeah, I think I'm way low on that. I think 4.5 would have to be severely juiced to the over. I think we might get 6-7 teams used between Thursday and Friday. Somebody's taking Green Bay. Somebody's taking Detroit. I'm absolutely convinced somebody's taking Kansas City. They're going to be on Baltimore.
Yeah.
That's 5 right there with Philadelphia. Does anybody take Dallas? Maybe the one team that does not get selected would be Cincinnati, although it would be plenty of people are going to be on Baltimore. That'd be the contrarian take here.
Yeah. And maybe a lot of people are freaked out now. Baltimore hasn't looked good and Burrow's back.
They have not.
Maybe Philly becomes the popular choice.
Can I be like last night's game was so oh God, that game sucked to watch. I mean, the Panthers had every chance to have a big lead in the first half.
Yes.
And Purdy just kept turning. I mean, bad passes, by the way.
Oh, man. The quarterback play was atrocious.
Oh.
Number one, how does that contract look, right? Looks horrible. And he's thrown now twice 3 picks and a half going back. Warren Sharp had a great tweet about that. It's the second half in a game you have to have, and it's all dump-offs to McCaffrey because Shanahan's so scared the guy might. You could have 6 picks in that game. Mm-hmm. I don't know why he isn't on the same page as Jennings. They had miscommunication all night. Condolences to him, by the way. You'd ever do that to another man. I totally have his back that he went after the.
What's worse, that or getting spit in the face?
I'd rather someone spit in my face than punch me in the nuts. I'll tell you that.
Have you ever been like, has that ever happened to you, an accident or anything, or playing sports or whatever?
Oh, absolutely. Goalie and a catcher.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I got kicked there on an accident one time, and man, there's nothing you can do. You're on the ground, and you're 5-10 minutes of pain. You can't do anything.
Yep.
You're on the ground, just like begging for mercy.
That's a Mike Tomlin line. Take care, whatever you got to do at that point. I mean, you do that to another guy, forget about it.
For sure.
But it's the contract looks horrendous. The fact that it's all dink and dunk. They have the weapons, but Purdy is shaky. I mean, these passes longer than 15 yards. It's ridiculous. And shame on the Atlanta Falcons, who somehow allowed Bryce Young to throw for 400 yards on him in their house in a must-win.
Well, good luck figuring out half the teams in the league.
Sure. The whole thing is Charlie check down with Bryce Young.
Yeah, but also good job, I guess, by Robert Saleh last night.
Yes.
And Young was not helped out by McMillan. I know he had the nice touchdown, but some bad drops there from him.
That's correct, yes.
Did not have a good game, in my opinion, at all. Dowdle had 6 carries in the game.
He's not right.
I would agree.
Got dinged up. He hasn't been the same a couple weeks ago. And I know Sala did a great job, and it was a good job sending heat and everything, but Joe Buck, calm down. He got a raw deal with the Jets? No, he didn't. He did a bad job. Which I know everyone struggles with the Jets. They have the longest playoff drought. Carolina right behind them. But don't tell me he should get another whack at it being a head coach.
Well, he's the favorite to take the Tennessee job.
I can't believe that.
Well, and also, but Paul, let's be realistic about it, though. They brought in Aaron Rodgers. He goes down 4 plays into his first season with the team when they had like Super Bowl aspirations, and then he's got to go to Zach Wilson.
Yeah, but also,
nobody could make it work with Zach Wilson.
But he's a defensive guy, and they were so bad defensively. I mean, that's on him, too. That goes back to what we're watching every week in Arizona with Gannon. That shouldn't happen. And
I will say, some guys they are better off being coordinators.
Yeah, true.
There's nothing wrong with that, again.
Norv Turner, great example. So they should make the playoffs. That's a tough game now Sunday. I took under 38 as they go to Cleveland.
Oh, they can lose that game.
That's a tough game. And then you get off by, you beat Tennessee. So you should win 10 games on accident. But they have a ton of weapons. And I wouldn't want to play him in that 2-7 game to start.
Well, and by the way,
3-6.
Is McCaffrey going to have 500 touches this year?
That's the other thing.
He's going to lead. He's right now leading the league in receptions.
When in doubt, just dump it off to him and give him 30 touches a game. You can't go wrong. He's so good. Got to do a better job taking care of the ball. But if you have a quarterback that freaks you out and you don't have any confidence in throwing the ball down the field, just throw the short stuff to McCaffrey.
Yeah, you can tumble me all you want here. I have brought this up earlier in the season. We did the pace that he's on for in the 2025 season. If he leads the league in receptions and has 2,500 yards from scrimmage and, 18 touchdowns, they're a playoff team. Will he get votes for Offensive Player of the Year? Think about that season for a second.
I know.
Oh.
But what these other guys are doing, I know. It was good to see the bromance there with Roger Craig. Roger Craig was a hell of a player.
Oh, he was terrific.
I think
he got very emotional last night.
Yeah, I know. First 1,000 guy. Mm-hmm. But that was great. But the emotion there, and up to his buddy McCaffrey.
Didn't you love the way Roger Craig would run?
Yeah.
Knees
up. That's right. Get him up.
Up next, we're going to compare Matthew Stafford's numbers to other great /MVP seasons by other quarterbacks in recent years. Plus, Maction starting bottom of the hour. I do have a bet on this game. Tell you what it is coming up next here on VSiN.
If you're a custodial supervisor at a local high school, you know that cleanliness is key, and that the best place to get cleaning supplies is from Grainger. Grainger helps you stay fully stocked on the products you trust, from paper towels and disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Plus, you can rely on Grainger for easy reordering, so you never run out of what you need. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
God, I can't wait for Thanksgiving. First of all, it's the best holiday the entire calendar year. We can all agree on that, I think, right? All the food, all of the sides, obviously, all the football games. And this slate is as good as I can ever remember. And to talk about the middle game in Dallas, Cowboys and Chiefs, RJ Choppy joins the program now, 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, and he is on the Progressive Guest line. RJ, happy Thanksgiving week. Good to talk to you again. How are you?
Happy Thanksgiving. I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Doing really well here. So if I told you there's so much drama between these two teams right now, obviously there always is with your team, but with the Chiefs, and they have to have seemingly like every one of these games to get into the playoffs down the stretch. If I told you right now that this game was going to set the all-time record for TV ratings in the regular season, would you say, yeah, I can see that happening?
Actually, it's funny. I talked about that this week. I was like, I said this week that this was going to be the highest rated non-Super Bowl in league history.
Yeah.
I thought it was. This is an unbelievable made-for-TV event because you've got the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, who is obviously the greatest show on turf. And then you got the Cowboys, who have a following that I don't think people really understand the depth of the following until they're actually immersed in it. And then you've got the fact that it's on Thanksgiving. They're They both come off wins. They're fighting for their playoff lives. It's not like both teams are 10-0.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams are essentially the same. They're a 500 team fighting for the postseason. Everybody's off work. You really can't get anything better than this. I think we're going to see we might see 50 million.
I agree.
I think it's nuts how high this game is going to be rated.
Yep, totally agree. You're all over it. So what do you think of this defense now? And I know you talk to Jerry Jones every week. You know, the run defense has been great, and now getting healthy and getting some guys back. Mm-hmm. Do you have enough confidence now that they can slow down Mahomes, and suddenly that schedule is doable the rest of the way?
Well, you know, the Lions don't look as tough as we thought going in. They're still very good. It would not surprise me if they put it together and went on a run. The Chiefs don't look as tough. The Chargers don't look as tough. I mean, this run that we're in right now where, you know, the Cowboys had the Eagles and now they got Kansas City, Detroit, the Chargers. We thought Washington. I mean, we thought this was a murderer's row. And it's not the case. And the Cowboys defense has improved. Look, I'm not going to lose my mind over beating the Raiders. And quite frankly, I'm not going to lose my mind over shutting down Philadelphia in the second half. Philadelphia shuts themselves down an awful lot anyway. Kansas City's offense has not been great. I don't think Kansas City has a win where the other team has scored 21 points this year. So, like, they haven't had a great offense. Detroit, you shut down Detroit, that'll surprise me. But outside of that, I think the defense obviously has improved. There's no doubt about that. You got 30% turnover on your defense. And then you add Overshown and Logan and then Quinn and Williams. But you also take out Mozzie, so he's not being a black hole anymore, really. I mean, he was a downside for this team. So you add that, you take away Mozzie, it's been a better defense. I think there's a lot of optimism here right now.
I think so. I think current form, the team, I mean, and like you, I don't want to completely get nuts and say, my God, the Raiders game, that was like 90% bad Raiders. They're so awful. I think a lot of teams would do that to them. But having said that, like the point spread for this game, RJ, on Thursday, 3.5, this to me feels like the number from a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, when the Cowboys were in piss poor shape and we didn't know what the Chiefs were going to be like. This is I would only look at Dallas here in this game. How about you?
I was surprised when this number came out like this. Look, I'm a betting guy. I'm a freak about it, and I wonder if we go back 30, 40 years and the same handicappers, if they're going to make it this number, and if they're not too kind of handcuffed by their algorithms they use or whatever it is to make the odds, because it doesn't make any sense. The Cowboys are a different team the last couple of weeks. The Chiefs they're not a world beater by any stretch. They could have easily lost to Indianapolis. They don't. They did not play well in their previous couple of games, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I was when I saw this, I was like, ooh. My first thought was not, oh, I'll take the Cowboys plus 3.5. It's, ooh, what's the money line? Because I think that's where the value lies.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the total's 52.5, and you had a good breakdown on how Dak has struggled against Spags. So what do you think Dallas does to exploit this Kansas City defense, and who gets involved early?
Well, it's not just against Spags. It's the AFC in general. Dak is 35-9 against the NFC East in his career. He's only 20-17 against the AFC as a whole. And there's some bad teams there, right? I mean, that includes Cleveland. That includes the Jets, right? We're talking about some bad teams in the AFC. Raiders, right? So he's only 5-6 against the AFC West. Outdoor games, obviously this is an indoor game at home, but outdoor games he has struggled in. And he is usually beaten up on bad teams. But the Chiefs are a bad football team. This is an interesting number for the line to be that high. Kansas City doesn't score enough. Cowboys defense has improved, and the Cowboys don't play great football outside of the NFC and the NFC East. Teams are not familiar with. So I think 52 is too high.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if I knew nothing about this team before the season started, and I watched every single one of their games beginning this year, I would say, my God, George Pickens is clearly their best weapon, and he is one of the best wide receivers in the entire league. He's still priced like lower than CeeDee Lamb in the betting market for his player props. What do you make of that?
I think it's just not caught up yet. You ask anybody around here now, diehard Cowboy fans and the pom-pom waivers of CD fans, they'll be like, George only getting this because CD is double teamed. Well, look, unless they start flipping it around and George gets double teamed, the same thing is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
George Pickens is going to get his numbers. He has shown that he is a go up and get it football player, and the Cowboys haven't had that since Des Bryant. And I think George reminds me a lot of. I think he reminds me a lot of Plexico Burress, like his body style, the way he moves, his mannerisms, just reminds me of Plexico Burress. He's been phenomenal, and I'm very surprised that his numbers are still below what CeeDee Lamb is. Maybe they're just protecting themselves and waiting for CeeDee to have a breakout game. But in 11 games, George Pickens has 4 games of receiving yards over 130. I think CeeDee only has 9 in his whole career, and George has done this in 11 games.
Very strong. Okay, so you would look at Dallas money line. Do you want to get completely nuts and take a number on the Cowboys to make the playoffs? Oh, no. Yeah. I did this today because, obviously you still have Detroit. You still got to play them, and then that matters. Carolina, who you already lost to, loses to San Francisco. So now you're clear of them because of the tie. The problem is that it's going to be really difficult to get ahead of San Francisco. You're going to have to get them to 6 losses, I think, because if you have the same amount of losses, obviously the tie hurts you there. But also San Francisco has got, I think they're like 8-2 now, or 7-2 against the NFC. They've got some crazy NFC record. It's really tough. It's going to be really, really difficult to get out and make the playoffs in the NFC as a wild card. And they're not going to win the division. They're too far back in the division. Detroit and Carolina, who's got the tiebreaker, and San Fran, it's just too much. I don't think I would take that. It's not high enough. If it was at 11 or 12 to 1 to make the playoffs, you could maybe talk me into it. Right now, they're going to struggle to get to 10 wins, and I think you need to have 10 wins to get in. Okay, fair enough. RJ Choppy, our guest, 105.3 The Fan in Dallas. Last thing here in about 90 seconds. How would you evaluate Schottenheimer here, first year as a head coach with the Cowboys?
First year bumps and bruises. The fourth downs. I didn't hate the fourth downs that he did against Philadelphia. I hated the plays. I didn't hate the decision to go for it. It was on second down and 2, 3rd and 1. Why are you throwing it on 3rd and 1? Run the ball. Run the ball in there. And then to throw it on 4th down, too. I mean, run the ball a couple of times. Take your chances. You got a 240-pound quarterback. You got a running back who's played well. You got an offensive line that likes to run the football. He's been, I think, obviously, look, they had the death of Marshawn Kneeland, and that was a very tough spot for this franchise to be in. He was the perfect guy. He's a culture guy. He's a family guy. I bet you he FaceTimed every single player that night that they found out. I guarantee you he did. That's the kind of guy he is. But, you are going to have some first-year coaching growing pains on the field, especially when you're calling plays. It speeds up for you. So, I would grade him. He's met expectations. I thought he was going to be pretty decent. He's probably been about a B. Yeah. But there's room to improve there for sure.
Very good. You can follow RJ on X. He's at RJ Choppy. Catch him in the mornings on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas as well. Great spot as always, RJ. Thanks for the time. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Thank you.
There you go. And he was on the Progressive guest line. I haven't dabbled on the money line yet, but consideration for me.
Yeah. I think that total's too high as well. And I think I also agree with him that Schottenheimer's done a good job.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad overall. Win some, lose some coming up next. Another sport is changing right in front of us. This time of year will probably never be the same. This is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Some best bets here. Final week of college football, regular season anyways. We head out to the Progressive guest line. Paul Stone joins the program now. You can follow him on X. He's at Paul Stone Sports. Good afternoon, buddy. Happy Thanksgiving. We appreciate the time. Let's begin with a really big game in the SEC. Vandy takes on Tennessee. This one is going to be worth a 3.5 hour watch, I think. Back and forth affair. What is your plan of attack here with the betting numbers on this game?
Yeah, Vanderbilt obviously still has a small chance to make the playoff if they can get the mild upset there in Knoxville. But I'm looking at the total here. And this game, the total opened 64.5 on Sunday there at Circa. It's been bet up just a little bit to 65.5. But I think this is a game that just screams points. You look at it, first of all, when you're looking at an over, especially in the mid-60s, you want to look at that weather forecast. We're still 4 days out from Saturday's 3:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff there in Knoxville. But the forecast looks really favorable right now, high of 50 degrees, no wind to speak of, really no chance of precipitation. So really looks like it's going to be ideal conditions. Though just some numbers that you don't want to throw too much out there, but Tennessee averages 39.3 points per game this year versus FBS opponents. They rank 7th nationally in scoring. Vanderbilt just a point behind, 38.3 points per game to rank 8th nationally. They both average over 450 total yards offense per game. Vanderbilt, 7.2 yards per play. Tennessee not far behind at 6.6 yards per play. Both these teams like to throw the ball. They both rank in the top 10 nationally in yards passed per attempt. Both of these teams average over 9 yards per attempt. Vandy, 9.3 yards per attempt. Tennessee, 9.1. I could go on and on. They both pass the ball very well, move the ball very well on offense. They don't defend the pass very well, though. Both rank in the bottom 25 in passing yards allowed of the FBS 136 teams. I just see a lot of points here. Both these teams also very highly ranked in yards per point, which is a metric which speaks to a lot of things. But basically, a team that scores a lot of touchdowns, doesn't kick a whole lot of field goals, a higher relative percentage of non-offensive touchdowns, shorter scoring drives set up by turnovers, that kind of thing. They're both in the top 10 in yards per points. I think we're going to get a game in the 70s. I like this game over 65.5 there in Knoxville on Saturday.
Very good. All right, good luck, my friend. They've been playing this game since 1890. 134 meetings. Paul Bunyan's Axe, Minnesota and Wisconsin. Wisconsin, a couple upsets now since they announced they're bringing Fickle back. What do you think of the Gophers here?
I mean, first of all, man, you got to love college football, just these names, teams playing for, this is the battle for Paul Bunyan's Axe, as you mentioned. Minnesota and Michigan, they play for the Little Brown Jug, TCU, SMU, the Iron Skillet. We could go on and on, but really unique part of college football lore. Looking at these teams, the outcome of this game, not going to have any implications on either team's bowl possibilities, this season. Certainly where Minnesota goes could be impacted, but at 6-5, Minnesota's already qualified for a bowl. At 4-7, Wisconsin's simply playing for pride here. This will be their last game of the season. And while Wisconsin's season, as a whole is going to be judged as a disappointment, they have certainly shown strides in the month of November, posted home victories over Washington and Illinois. Their AD, Chris McIntosh, gave Luke Fickell an endorsement that he would return. Fickell will for the 2026 season. Also gave him a pledge of greater investment in the program, which Wisconsin sorely needs to keep up with their Big Ten brethren. And while Wisconsin, they've managed to steady the ship a little bit, I like Minnesota here to retain the Axe, and it's primarily due to the Gophers' home road dichotomy. They have played a much more difficult road schedule, but they are a much better team at home this season. They're 6-0 at home this year, perfect 6-0, and a rather imperfect 0-5 on the road. Their best win of the year being a 24-6 victory over Nebraska at home in mid-October. I think Minnesota and the redshirt quarterback Drake Lindsey get it done. You never want to lay many points with a offensively challenged Minnesota team, but here we are at pick. Just have to win the game. I think they will. Give me Minnesota at pick over Wisconsin at Huntington Bank Stadium.
For those who don't know, this is the most played college football series in Division I.
Yeah.
It's tied at 63 apiece with 8 ties. From 2004 to 2017, Wisconsin won every single game, but P.J. Fleck has done a great job. Minnesota's won 4 out of the last 7 in this rivalry. It is a big deal. And Paul, as a Wisconsinite, I hope you're wrong on this one.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. That's for pride. That's for pride. So you faded Pittsburgh last week, and they got out. They jumped on Georgia Tech from the get-go in that game, and then Georgia Tech came roaring all the way back, nearly tied it up, got back into the game. Then there was a pick six. Now this week you're on Pittsburgh against Miami, catching 7. Tell us why you like them.
Yeah, I've had this, game circle for some time, really, Mitch. Most of Miami's players, I would say with a great degree of confidence, they probably didn't come to the U because of the opportunity to play a late November game in Pittsburgh in near freezing temperatures every couple of years. So that probably wasn't part of the reason they came there, and certainly nothing against the fine, hardworking men and women of the Steel City. My wife, she's from the state of Ohio, but grew up only 60 miles from Pittsburgh, so certainly fond of that area. But the Canes, man, they're about fun in the sun. They're about South Beach, and this just isn't it. This Saturday, the forecast calls for a high temperature of 37 degrees in Pittsburgh, possibility of some slow flurries. We'll keep an eye on that as we get closer to game day, but the weather might not be very Miami-esque, if you will. Neither here nor there, but the high in Miami on Saturday predicted to be a rather balmy 77 degrees. You talked about Pittsburgh's victory, won by 2 touchdowns there at Georgia Tech, just really controlled the game from beginning to end. They had a very balanced offensive attack. Their true freshman quarterback, Mason Heinschel, he just continues to perform at a high level. Looks like a veteran quarterback. He threw for 226 yards. They have been without one of their better offensive players in recent weeks. Desmond Reed, kind of their scat back. He's been in and out. But this past weekend against Georgia Tech, they had a true freshman, a guy who's 5'9", 180 pounds, Jakarian Turner. He rushed for 201 yards in that victory for Pitt over Georgia Tech. So they identified another weapon, and he happens to be a Floridian. I'm sure Miami – I shouldn't say I'm sure, but I would doubt Miami recruited him if he's playing at Pitt. So this game might have an extra measure of meaning for Mr. Turner. The month of November last year certainly wasn't kind to Miami. We'll remember that they dropped November road games as more than a touchdown favorite at both Georgia Tech and at Syracuse, ultimately kept them out of the 12-team playoff. This year in November, back on November 1st, they went to SMU as a 10.5-point road favorite, lost to the Ponies 26-20. Their quarterback, the well-compensated Carson Beck, between last year at Georgia and this year at Miami, he's thrown a total of 21 interceptions. So he is a little bit interception prone. So I think Pitt's got a chance to either push or perhaps win that turnover battle on Saturday. The Panthers don't have to beat Miami for us to get the money. They just have to keep it close. And I think they've got a chance to win. Give me Pitt +7 over Miami Saturday in Pittsburgh.
All right. Less than 2 minutes left. Great call last week on UTSA. Right back with them, laying 7 against Army.
Sometimes, Paulie, you just ride a hot hand, and that's what we're going to do here again with their quarterback, Owen McCowan, and the Texas San Antonio Roadrunners. To kind of review, last week I highlighted Texas San Antonio's very distinct home-road dichotomy, looking at their performances in the Alamo Dome and away from the Alamo Dome. And since the start of the 2024 season, after that victory over East Carolina last weekend, a resounding victory, they are now 10-1 at home, straight up, 9-2 against the spread over that same span. You look at their road play, they're 2-10 on the road straight up over the last 2 seasons, 3-9 against the spread. They are just a different team at home. And looking at Owen McCowan at the Alamo Dome, specifically over his last 4 games, I mean, he has been a marksman over these last 4 games. Those games coming against Incarnate Word, Rice, Tulane, and then last week, East Carolina. He is 100 of 123, so an 81% completion rate, 1,097 yards, an average of 8.9 yards per attempt. He's thrown for 16 touchdowns in those last 4 games against absolutely 0 interceptions, so he's taking care of the football. I just like where they are. Army's a team that depends offensively and defensively on discipline and technique. They don't want to get in although they do have some great athletes, they don't want it to become a game of athleticism. And where that kind of gets to them sometimes is when teams throw the football and teams get them in space on the field. And that's what UTSA, I think, is going to do here. I like UTSA -7. Kind of a side note as well, UTSA's last 9 games at the Alamo Dome have all gone over Saturday's total of 52. But I like UTSA -7 over Army.
Very good. Best of luck this weekend. Happy Thanksgiving, Paul. We appreciate it.
Hey, same to you guys. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys and everybody out there listening. Appreciate it.
If you're a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility and your machinery isn't working right, Grainger knows you need to understand what's wrong as soon as possible. So when a conveyor motor falters, Grainger offers diagnostic tools like calibration kits and multimeters to help you identify and fix the problem. With Grainger, you can be confident you have everything you need to keep your facility running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Thanks for checking in. We're live in Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino, coming up in this hour, 30 minutes from right now. The owner of this great property, Derek Stevens, in studio. What a 10-day stretch it's been out here in this city. Also, our best bets for tonight and this week. And right now, the Thursday night game, so intriguing. Joe Burrow's back for Cincinnati. And we'll talk about it from a Baltimore perspective as Glenn Clark joins the program now, covers the Ravens in that city for PressBox Online, and he's on the Progressive guest line. Glenn, happy Thanksgiving week, my man. How are you today?
Mitch, Paulie, happy Thanksgiving to you guys. Everything is good. Weather is actually kind of decent here in Baltimore this time of year, but I must have missed. I'm sure you guys hit me up with those pit passes for the F1 race. I'm sure you offered. I just must have missed that email or something. I don't know what happened.
I never got a response from you.
Next time, though.
Yeah.
I'll buy you the helmet drink for $2,000. Come on out.
Okay, so entering this game specifically, short turnaround now for both these teams, but specifically Lamar Jackson, what is your level of concern with his health at this point?
It's serious. It's an incredible level of concern. I mean, he's going to play because he's been playing. He practiced today. He'll be out there. This is now the 4th different injury designation the Ravens have had for Lamar Jackson, starting with the hamstring injury that costed him 3+ games. Then it was the knee and the ankle, and now it's toe. And as you watch him play, you can see it's impacting him. There's no question about it. He's averaging 5.7 rushing attempts per game this season. If that were to hold, that would be 2.5 fewer than his lowest career rushing attempts per game, which was last year at 8.2. He's just not making, and some of them, it's really eye-opening. There was a 3rd and 3 in the first half on their second drive of the game last week where there's 2 giant rushing lanes available to him, and he's just not taking them. And they're saying nothing because they don't want the Cincinnati Bengals to be thinking about it. They're saying they're not even really answering the questions, right? Like John Harbaugh was asked this week, is it altering the offense what Lamar is going through injury-wise? And his answer was, I'm proud of Lamar. Like, he doesn't even want to discuss the topic. And Lamar is dismissive of it, but it is clear that he is not anywhere close to being the full superhero version of Lamar Jackson that we've been used to seeing.
Totally agree, and I watched the exact same play you did. Didn't accelerate, couldn't take off, hesitant, and didn't get the first down and won't rush. So they put themselves in this hole where they got to play him, and they have to win because of the 1-5 start. At some point, though, if they keep winning, they got to sit him so he can get healthy because they're not going to do anything with a compromised Lamar Jackson.
Oh, no, they're not making a deep playoff run with this version of Lamar Jackson. And I just don't know when that option would be, right? Like, this was the weak part of your schedule. And to their credit, they took care of business. They went 5-0, including actually winning one with Tyler Huntley against the best team that they played in that stretch in the Chicago Bears. But now it's the division games, which you have to win to make sure you stay ahead of the Steelers and the Bengals. And then it's the Packers and the Patriots. And, like, there is not a break for them at this point in order to make sure they get in. Perhaps if they were to beat the Bengals on Thursday night, it would be good for them to have the 10 days before they have to play the Steelers the following Sunday. And Maybe that's a little bit of rest, and they appear committed at this point to not having Lamar Jackson practice on Wednesdays, or this week it was on Monday, despite the fact that was a walkthrough practice. I mean, this is the Monday schedule, and they still didn't have him out there. So that appears to be part of the strategy for how to keep him on the field. But, Paulie, I'm kind of in agreement with you. If this is the physical level that you're getting from Lamar Jackson, the defense is much better. We can talk about that. But the offensive line is not good enough. They are not running the ball with Derrick Henry the way they were a year ago. And I don't think there is a path, even in an AFC that looks a little mid, I don't think there's a path for them to break through it without a more superhero version of Lamar Jackson.
Well, how about this game on Thursday night, though, right? Because the Bengals defense is all-time bad. You can carve them up seemingly any which way that you would like. I get it with Lamar's health here, but tight ends have killed this team. I mean, it's historically bad against tight ends. Also, you can gash them on the ground. Derrick Henry has a great history going back to 2023, at least, against this defense. What do you think the plan of attack is here for the Ravens on offense?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I absolutely think that they can. This could be a week that you look back and say either they got right offensively, they figured out how to adjust to a limited version of Lamar Jackson, or it's just a week. I think they're going to score points, right? Like, I think it's safe to bet that the Ravens are going to score points despite their recent offensive troubles. The real issue, they got to figure out what they're going to do in the red zone. But I do think they try to run the ball. Absolutely. They want to run the ball. They want to establish it. It's just that right now their guard play, in particular at right guard from Daniel Faalele, has prevented it. A week ago, Derrick Henry against the Jets ran for 64 yards. 55 of them came after contact. Like, he's just not getting holes to run through. He has to create everything at the moment in order to succeed. So I think they're going to try. I ultimately think they're going to throw the ball fairly well. I think that getting Rashad Bateman back will help because they have not been using the middle of the field the way that you would like to see them. And I don't think that this week is a week where I'm terrified they're not going to score points because, to your point, you and I might be able to score against the Bengals defense.
Yes. So you mentioned the defense, and Hamilton is good to go, it appears. I like your tweet, when in doubt, just blitz and send Hamilton. Is this defense good enough then to carry him to the finish line?
Oh, boy. Maybe. I still want to see that against better offenses. As we bring up, like this stretch they played, the quarterbacks were Tua Tagovailoa, J.J. McCarthy, Dylan Gabriel / Shedeur Sanders, and then Tyrod Taylor. And the defense has looked excellent, has looked outstanding, but it should look really good against that group. So I do want to see how it looks. Kyle Hamilton being able to be used in all sorts of ways makes a huge difference. The Draymond Jones pickup has been phenomenal. I mean, he gets fit in seamlessly. Finally had his first sack and a half, but he was impactful the first couple of games, even without getting sacks. He's been awesome and has sort of closed the gap in what we thought was a concerning edge rush group. But I still need to see it against better offenses to know that they're capable of doing this as you get into the postseason. And particularly against Jamar Chase, who, I mean, has killed them, guys. Like, Jamar Chase he had 193 yards in one game against the Ravens last year, and it was only the third most he's ever had against the Ravens in his career.
Wow.
Jamar Chase finished in 2 games last year with 457 yards against the Ravens and 5 touchdowns. So I'd be bullish. I mean, the numbers aren't good. Like, you've got to go over 100. I was looking at some of those today. You got to go over 100 to get plus money, but I'd still be pretty bullish about, with no T. Higgins. They're going to go to Jamar Chase constantly. The Ravens are inclined to give Nate Wiggins an opportunity to match up with him, but I don't think that's going to go very well because this is Jamar Chase we're talking about, and particularly Jamar Chase that's now coming off of a rest for a week. So I got to see it to feel confident that's a championship caliber defense.
Well, now, by the way, Glenn, we're talking to Glenn Clark, Press Box Online. He's on the Progressive Guest Line. Jamar gets his quarterback back in Joe Burrow. And that's all correlated, right, with Chase's big numbers. That also means that Burrow has had great numbers. And in 9 career games, he's averaging 300 yards per game, 21 touchdowns, 5 INTs. But this is the tricky part. Like, he's back for the first time in 2+ months now, right? So what do you expect from him?
Yeah, it's a really fair question. Mm-hmm. I think you got to believe that he is at least close to being. Why do this right now? When you're 3-8, I get they made that late run last year where they won 5 straight games and nearly backed into the playoffs. But why do this right now if you don't know that Joe Burrow is at least close to being Joe Burrow? So that part of it makes me think that you're going to get probably something pretty close to what you would expect. And I do think that that's concerning for the Ravens. I just think this is such an unnecessary risk to take. I know it's a big game. I know he probably wanted to play in this game, but you would think that someone in that organization would say, dude, if you're not you, there's just no reason for us to do this right now. Like the quarterback play hasn't been what's held the Bengals back.
Yes.
Like it's their defense. If he could play cornerback, I could understand why they were racing him out there. So I do think you're getting a fairly healthy, fairly complete version of Joe Burrow, or else why? Why is he playing in this game?
You always come with a lot of picks. Cincinnati's terrible against tight ends. Lamar won't take off and run. Any props that you like?
I do like Zay Flowers right now. He's been reliable, and I think I saw like you could get plus money at over 70, I think, yards for Zay Flowers on Thursday night. And I like that. He's been the one sort of reliable. They get Rashad Bateman back, but I don't think that changes a lot. Lamar wants to go to Zay when he does get outside the pocket. And so I do like Zay Flowers over on rushing or on receiving yards on Thursday night. The tight ends is a weird one because he's going to look for them, but he might go to Charlie Kolar instead of Mark Andrews sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm almost afraid to do anything that involves the tight ends. Or maybe I'd be looking to Charlie Kolar in a smaller number and thinking that might be something that I could play. But I'm almost afraid of going to Mark Andrews. I think Zay, of all of the individual props, is probably the safest one with yards that I'd be willing to play for Thursday night, just because he's continued to be the one reliable target that even as things haven't been working for the Ravens, they've continued to go to him.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to have at least pizza money on Charlie Kolar to score a touchdown in this game.
Why not?
Why not?
I've made so many worse. I think at one point this season, I told you guys to bet Zaire Mitchell-Payton to score a touchdown. Why in the hell wouldn't you put a little bit on Charlie Kolar to score it? There was a great scene with him and Lamar from this past Sunday. Lamar was mic'd up, and they got a great relationship. And he really does trust the tight ends. I will tell you, though, guys, 5 for 14 over the last 3 games in the red zone. 5 touchdowns and 14 trips to the red zone in the last 3 games. It's a real problem for the Ravens.
All right. Do they win on Thursday night?
I think they do. This is the Bengals. The defense is so bad. I look, I think they're going to score points, but I do think the Ravens figure out a way to win.
Okay.
I don't know if I would bet over a touchdown.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds to me like there's no way you're laying 7 points here with Baltimore.
Yeah, I don't think I can do it. I think it's too rich for my blood.
Charlie, 7-1 anytime.
All right. Hey, Glenn, awesome stuff as always, my man. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Appreciate you.
There you go. Follow him on X, by the way, at Glenn Clark Radio. Up next, great email on the Heisman Trophy and why this would be outrageous.